What's up, everybody? Welcome to We Have Cool Friends, the cool show where we interview our cool friends about the cool things they're doing. Halloween edition. I'm Greg Miller, and this is our cool friend, Janina Gavankar.
Hello, friends.
Where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego?
Now, if you're an audio listener, none of this makes sense, but she's in a Carmen Sandiego outfit. I'm just his dead man from the one and only Death Stranding, which we'll be reviewing soon. YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames. Is that you getting excited about Death Stranding?
Yes.
Yeah. What have you heard? What do you know? Don't listen to any of it. Forget everything you know.
I know some things.
Yeah?
But, I mean, we all know some things, and who knows if those things are even real. It's going to be cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Janina.
Yes, darling.
Thank you for
happy
coming
to see
in.
you.
I'm happy to see you. I'm glad we finally get to do this for real again.
I just got off a plane, and I
know.
came straight
Where
here.
did you come from?
New York.
Okay, because that was my panic this morning. Because
I know. Your text was so sweet.
I
but
saw, because I was up late playing video games till
right.
4 a.m.
As one does. It
And
is
saw
the fourth quarter.
Yeah, saw you tag me in a thing and didn't even look at it. And then this morning when I woke up and looked at it like for real, and it was like, got a 6 a.m. flight. And I'm like, a 6 a.m. flight? She's going to get here at 7. I thought you were coming from L.A. I'm like,
No,
oh my
no.
gosh, she's going to beat us to the office.
No. Yeah, I was in New York, and I didn't even sleep last night. I just got in a car at 4 a.m. And
You're a
then
crazy person.
Well, I'm on a press tour right now, so this is just what it is. It's
So
like,
here's what I'm bad at all the time.
Yeah.
Is people yell at me about it on this show. Because they love this show. Very successful. It's better than Kind of Funny. And anything it is. I was going to say KFAF. Thank you very much, Kevin, for seeing through where the joke was going. In a nutshell, how do you describe yourself? If
How did I
somebody's
get
never
in this
heard
nutshell?
of... Exactly. Good reference. Good reference. How do you
this is
describe yourself?
You're a really good shill in the back there.
Kevin?
Like,
That's
thanks,
all
thanks,
legit.
Looking,
That's
thanks,
all
looking.
genuine.
Oh, wait, what was your question? I didn't listen at all.
If somebody doesn't... I'm used to it with you in conversations. If somebody doesn't know who...
Yeah.
Janina Gavankar is.
God.
When you meet somebody at a party, I'm Tom Cruise. I walk up and I'm like, hey, I'm Tom Cruise.
Oh my God, that was an incredible impression.
Thank you, I killed it.
You were transformational there. I would say most people know me as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up a very serious musician, but I make things, films, music videos, yeah.
You're a
all that
creative
kind of
type.
stuff. I'm a creative type. It's just like the output is just, if I don't get it out of myself, then I'll crumble.
No big deal. Yeah. I just create to hide from my emptiness.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
How's the grind going? Because you
It's
are
rough
one
right
of
now.
Yeah, you are.
But it's okay.
You are a person I see do. I do a lot. I see you do far more than me. I see you do far more than
That
most of the other
certainly can't
actors.
be true.
I'm lucky to know.
Yeah, it's a funny thing because for me it's like well, I always say like getting the job is harder than doing the job. So when you are in job getting mode as an actor, you're pounding the pavement and you're sort of like have to be entrepreneurial and you have to convince somebody that you are the right tool for the job, and it's a whole rigmarole. But then as soon as you have the job, you're just like, cool, great. Unless you're leading the show,
Yeah.
you have so much time off. And like that's not good for me. That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Don't want that.
Yeah.
And I have a creative partner, Russo Schelling, who you met. I brought him here. And so, for about 4.5 years, he and I have just been building a slate of projects.
He's the good Illinois boy, right?
Yes, we're both Illinoisans. Yeah. We just got back from Chicago. We wrote and directed a short film called Stucco, and it's been getting into like really good film festivals.
Yeah.
So we took it home. We kind of had a homecoming last week. His whole entire family came to the Chicago International Film Festival.
That's awesome.
And it was a pretty great night. It's pretty good.
It's pretty
It's
okay.
pretty good.
How do you keep track of all the stuff you're doing, right? Because is the morning show? I keep seeing you Instagram about this morning show. I was like, oh, she's on a morning show. And then I was like, oh, no, I'm not getting it right.
Ironically, I did a morning show. And I did the WGN morning show.
Hell yeah, WGN, yeah.
Yeah, that was in Chicago, obviously. And then we did Good Morning America in New York. I have time is a construct. I have no idea what day it is.
Yeah.
But when we were there, so we all did that together as well. So Jen Aniston and Reese Witherspoon took over Good Morning America, and then we, as the cast, came and like supported and did a bunch of bits, all the bits.
Yeah.
Bits.
All the bits. Yeah, exactly. So
So you're sort of, it seems like you're sort of asking me like, what the hell are you promoting right now on said press tour? So I basically went from LA to Chicago to New York to here, and then I'm going back to LA tomorrow. Lord. So this just means that I went to Chicago for the International Film Festival.
Yeah.
Whilst there, I did a morning show to promote The Morning Show, which is an
Okay.
Apple TV Plus show, and it's available tomorrow. Holy shit! Holy shit! We started shooting it exactly a year ago tomorrow as well, so it's a bit serendipitous for us. And then I went to New York, and then I did a full. It was like all of the things for The Morning Show. We had our global premiere. At the Lincoln Center, as if we were Fashion Week or something. It was so big.
Yeah.
It was. We got out of the theater, and they had a 2-tier orchestra at the Lincoln Center, just like blast. It was so dope. It's just like, oh God, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. My mother came. A bunch of my homies came, and my mother's technically in the second episode.
Ooh.
Yes. So you guys are like,
Who's she playing?
so she plays my character's mother. So you're like you guys are the first to know this. So when you watch it, I think
Kevin,
they're
call
releasing,
TMZ.
Yeah, well, it's not a big spoiler, but it's like it's an Easter egg more than a spoiler. So when I found out, when I read that script, my character brings her mom to a gala, and I said, "This is what my mom looks like. Would you like me to invite her?" They loved the idea, so they brought her in, and I told her, "Listen, you're going to be like a blurry pixel in the background, but you're going to get to hang out, and it's a very, very fancy show. All of Hollywood is in this thing, and you get to dress up for 2 days and sit at this table, and we'll have a great time." So they put her through a full fitting. They put her through all hair and makeup. They gave her fake lashes. They did the whole thing for her for 2 whole days.
What is that like for her? Because this is her first time getting a taste of what your life's like.
Well, she's like a super road dog with me. She's
Sure.
seen so much with me, but
She went to Giant Bomb night
that's
with you.
right.
That's what I met
Yeah,
her.
she calls it all the Great Balls of Fire Boys. That's what she calls them. So she's like super down, you know.
Yeah.
But it was the first time that she got to like have all the fixins, you know. It was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
nice. And there's a moment when Jen's character walks up, and I sort of say, "Let's take a selfie," and the 3 of us take a selfie together. But they set up a camera shot, so there's like a full 2 seconds when she is front and center between Jennifer Aniston and me, and I did not tell her. But I told my entire posse. So I was like, okay, this is going to happen. It's going to be so short, but I want you to cheer. So they did. It was like, she was like, oh my gosh. It was really, really special. So that was on, I don't know what day that was. That was a few days ago.
Sure.
2 days ago? Don't know. And so I did press there, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
And it's so rad to be able to just like find a time to just hang out with you.
I appreciate the text. Yeah, we always,
It's
you know how we
nice.
intersect.
We've been really lucky.
Yeah. Well, I think your last. I wrote it down. You were here for Game Over Greggy's show, June 23rd, 2017.
Oh, it was
And
2 years. It was.
You were off to
years
do
ago?
some Star Wars stuff. I think Star Wars show with that Carboni. Don't trust him. You know what I mean?
Carboni.
But it was that we got you for a little bit, and we're like, we'll have you back. And then we've tried, obviously, but we're all
I
so
thought
busy.
I came in for something.
You did
else.
E3 stuff with us at LA. Like we've done other
Oh,
videos
yeah,
and
maybe
stuff.
that's
I think
why
we
I
did,
feel that.
We might have been on one of the Bombcasts since then together. or
You're
whatever.
right. I
Yeah.
did that one when I was shooting Blindspotting here.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was in town. Yes, that's right. So that tracks. That
Yeah,
tracks.
that makes sense,
That makes sense.
right.
It makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I don't know any other show besides like Giant Bomb, which I've kind of done per year. But like it's very rare to be like, hey, I'm coming in. Should we do a thing?
Yeah.
Let's hang out.
Yeah.
It's very rare. So
Yeah, I
it's
know.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and then you dropped it on me, of course, that you came here, and I'm like, cool. Are you right back? You're like, no, I have a thing. And where are you going?
So tomorrow I'm speaking with the UN for what?
Who says that? What do you mean? What? Like, who
He just
says
made a
that?
face.
Who's like, oh, well,
The
yeah,
pod-
tomorrow I'm speaking with the UN.
No, around, all of them, yeah. No, so I don't know the terminology. Somebody's going to teach me the way to actually say this, but they have an initiative called He for She, which is basically, gender equality
This is
conversations.
Emma Watson's thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if she started it or if it's
She's
just like
just- she was
she's
the
the
face of
face
it.
of
She
it,
was the
kind
first
of,
big
yeah.
face.
But they extend into different industries, which is very helpful. And
Because
so
you're in 17 of them.
And so they asked me to speak tomorrow. I'm on a panel with 2 pretty incredible women, and we're talking about the games industry.
Nice.
So they asked me to come in and speak, which is kind of wild, but it's wild because I'm pretty outspoken. Like
Yeah.
I don't really hold back, but But I mean, maybe that's exactly what they're looking for. I don't know, but
We'll find out tomorrow.
yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out how it
When
goes
we
tomorrow.
see on TMZ, she gets in trouble at the UN, right? Pulled off stage, yeah.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, I do want to do housekeeping, of course. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, We Have Cool Friends usually airs every Monday. You can get it on Twitch. You can get it on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. youtube.com/kindoffunny. You can get it on podcast services around the globe. No matter where you get it, thank you for your support. Consider like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Remember, for housekeeping, it's Halloween, obviously, which is why we're in the goofy outfits. Kind of Funny's
Goofy.
Halloween.
Speak for yourself.
You look great. All right, you look great.
Dope. I feel
Yeah, Kevin, you walk behind me and just show people yourself.
Yeah, come show yourself.
Halloween Hellscape is happening. It is the Kind of Funny pay-per-view. We promised you on Patreon. You can go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Get it there. It's a YouTube live premiere thing, but if you're not watching live, it doesn't matter. It's just up there. Kind of Funny World Championship on the line. Xavier Woods doing stuff, and here's Kevin as Loki.
You look great.
Thank you.
You do look
Yeah,
great.
thing.
Yeah.
Did you make this on your own?
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's the thing about a good Halloween costume. Like you want personal touches
Bespoke.
on it. You want yeah, exactly. You had something in it. You know what I mean? Not just you got an Amazon hat delivered. You know
This
what I
is
mean? Not just you put on a suit
That's
you already
what
had.
I did, by the way. So this is my mother's coat from the 70s.
Really?
Red leather coat, which I love.
Your mom's got style.
She's the dopest.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, how could I do this? Because I knew there was no way I could take a hat with me for three cities. So I was just like, wait, Amazon, and I just.
And of course, it showed up on Saturday, and I was like, ooh, I hope it actually got through the door. I can never tell. We're brought to you, of course, today by our Patreon producers, Al Tribesman and David Mintel. My freak. And our sponsors are Untuck It, Escape the Invasion, and Away, but I'll tell you about that later. Yeah, you're also in games. What's that like?
My what?
You're also in games.
Oh, yeah.
When you were here in 2017,
I was in a game.
I
was at the time I was working on a game. Yes.
it was called Star Wars Battlefront II.
It was. It
And-
still is.
Yeah, it's still called
is.
that. Yeah, exactly. Battlefront 1 and 2 combined sales more than 33 million. So
Really?
I credit that to you. That was off from EA's earning calls yesterday.
Tell your friends.
But no, it was funny because when we had you on, it was like how we introduced you of like, this is where you probably know her. But instead, we're going to talk about nerdy things and we did a topic or whatever.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that right now.
Sure.
Because I feel like I'm lucky enough to have met you at E3 2016, 15? It might have been even 15 when we first started Kind of Funny in the backstage at Ubisoft.
Yeah.
And I remember you being like, I know Kind of Funny. I was like, oh, hey, I know your work. Yeah, True Blood. Yeah, and we talked for a little bit. And then it was this thing that was before you had got that game like publicly. That wasn't your big thing. And granted, you had done video games before, right? Far Cry, obviously. But this was the one where it was your face. And suddenly you were the main character. It was your face. It wasn't just doing a voice for anybody.
Yeah.
And you were out in front of this game.
Yes.
You were out there and so proud of it, which I think is what made it so awesome. In the podcast we did with you, right? Tim brought up the story of when they announced the book about your character, right? And you started like freaking out, crying in the front row.
Yeah.
Like it meant so much to us, and I think gamers at large that you cared so much about it.
Yeah. I still do.
I'm sure you do. Yeah. What was that like? What is that like? Because you're part of Star Wars history now.
Yeah, because it was two things simultaneously. It was like, I was the protagonist in a Star War.
What is Star Wars? Yeah.
And that comes with a whole bunch of responsibilities, and like especially as a brown girl, like that was I think I'm the first person of color to be the protagonist in a Star War.
Sure.
But so there's that, and you sort of like take that like. And I'm sort of like nihilistic about everything. It's like everything matters, nothing matters,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like you can't. What am I gonna do? Like be like, oh my god, it's the biggest deal. Actually, it should have happened a long time ago. It just happened to be me, right? But the thing that mattered the most was like to me was that it was in this medium that I love so much. I love it so much, and I feel like I have been like stamping around Hollywood being like, why is no one paying attention to games? Me and a million other people. But then I had this like rare opportunity to put these two things together, and it was just I just can't believe I got to do it.
Well, it's that rare occasion where I think it's the right platform and the right person and all these different things where I'm going to get this part wrong. I want to say it was Vanity Fair, but somebody did a feature on you during this happening, and you were very much saying what you just said there to the mainstream, right?
Yeah, that's
no one's paying attention to games and you're foolish not to. That's where the cool stuff's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I've done for a really long time is I sort of say when I'm like in quote unquote Hollywood, arenas, I kind of say I am an advocate for the games industry in mainstream media.
Yeah.
By the way, they don't need you. So if you don't pay attention, totally fine.
Yeah.
You know, like I always kind of like fire a warning shot. Like it's up to you
Yeah.
if you want to be a dinosaur, you know. But I've been doing that for a really long time, you know. And
But it was cool to see you get that then with Star Wars, right? Where they had to pay attention, where
that
it was
the
suddenly
thing.
a big thing.
I knew that because it was Star Wars you just said it, like you have to pay attention. But I know I spent like a half a year trying to convince them to let me be a part of pounding the pavement and like letting people know about it. And I don't know who the tipping point was, but somebody at some point went, yeah, okay, like I think we can trust her to do that.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, knowing you before that, right, and knowing how genuine your love of games is and knowing how much you love the medium, right, to have you be out there and be the spokesperson to bring that
it's
word to the
funny
people.
you say that because, okay, well, I have to say two things. One, somebody told me that I was like the first. Can you guys fact check this for me?
Kevin, pay attention to the Twitch chat. They're going to fact check her.
Yes, fact checkers. Somebody said that I was the first actor, protagonist in a game to be able to do the presser, as opposed to like coming out and being like, aha, but like actually do the presser.
You knew more than just the bullet points they told you backstage
correct.
about the character.
Because like before I did that, I went to EA and sat down and rewrote it with them.
Yeah.
And said like, I'm not gonna say this. This doesn't make sense. They were totally open to it. But,
sure.
It wasn't like a hired hand. I would fought for that moment to happen because it meant so much to me. I don't know if it's true. Like now, of course, everybody does it. Like now, Keanu exists, and
sure.
But
even then, and I'm not at all taking shots at anybody. There's worlds of difference with Death Stranding on the mind. If I remember when Norman Reedus being like, I'm doing this. I'm so into it. It's awesome. I have no idea what Kojima's telling me. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't, but I think it's going to be awesome. Like that's a world of difference between where you were with your character.
Well, to each their own. So we'll never.
I'm not talking shit. I'm not talking shit. That wasn't a shot. That wasn't a shot at all.
But it is pretty crazy to, like a decade before that. First of all, I only started playing video games in 2007. And it was like, holy shit, there's a world that I didn't even know was made for me. Does anybody want me to come play? Can I help in any way?
What did you find in 2007 that got you?
It was BioShock, Assassin's Creed, Brotherhood, Twilight Princess, Portal, Half-Life 2.
What happened? Did somebody just drop a console on you? Like, here you go.
So
you got time to kill, huh?
My ex-boyfriend was. I didn't have a job. I was like a non-working actor, and we played BioShock, and I was better at doing the hacking pipes than him.
Pipe puzzles.
And then he would he was the founder of DeviantArt, so he would like actually run a business, and then I didn't have a job, so I would just like continue to play. And then I was surrounded by geeks. It was like I finally found my people.
Yeah.
And then they were just like, "You're a gamer," and they just kept somebody handed me the orange box, and then it was just over. I was like, "Oh, this is world." And so that takes me to my second point, which is I started tweeting about games in 2007, and really just because I was like, does anyone can I help? How do I hang out with games? I didn't know anything, but I was like pretty vocal. And when I did EA Play for Battlefront 2, it was like having a quinceañera. This was completely unintentional, okay? It was like on the world stage. And I came out and I put these 5 stripes on my dress, and I brought my mom, and I did the thing.
You fucking owned it. That's how you say it. Where I mean, and the genuine joy in your face in those photos, right?
Yeah, I can't tell you. So I I had like an idea. By the way, I did that on zero sleep because I did a night shoot on Blindspotting here the night before. So I just flew in, showered at the Palladium, got into the dress, snatched my hair back, got sewn into my dress, and then went out there.
Yeah.
And then I slept for 14 hours the next day because I had an emotional come down. But the point is, I knew I wanted to come out that was halfway in character and then break it,
Yeah.
And then I didn't really have a plan for what I was going to do with all of my emotion after that because I got through the first half, then I was roll the tape, and then you know, it's like a 4-story high screen. And I came back and I was like, my mom's here and I feel things. And I was like, and I went off script for a second. And I feel like everybody felt it.
Oh, yeah.
And so 2 things happened. One, the people who are kind were like, this girl's, she means it. And then the trolls went, this bitch. But they went
She doesn't even really play games.
Yeah, that's not a thing. So, but they started going through like deep Twitter history.
Yeah.
And they saw 10 years
Yeah.
of tweets like super thirsty gamer, like can anybody does anybody want to be friends with me, please? You know.
Yeah.
For 10 years, and they were like, oh. Yeah, okay.
She's still a bitch.
She's still a bitch, but she's at least one of us, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So it really was it's just, you know, I talk about authenticity all the time.
Of course.
Everybody does. Honestly, like everybody does.
You're in the house of authenticity.
Yes. So it's an overused word, but like when your people can feel you know, and that was that moment for me. So it's really nice because now, like, I'm in the 4th quarter of this year and I am in a fucking dope game, which we'll talk about. But like there are other things releasing, and then now sometimes like games that I'm not in will just reach out to me and be like, do you want to be a part of this cool initiative we're doing? And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like there's stuff coming up that I can't talk about that I get to do in the next few weeks that I'm not a part of their game at all, but I just get to, you know, be involved, and it's just a really dope place to be. And if I told myself, my 2007 self, like, no, one day you'll be really like embedded and your friends will be devs and you will really, you'll somehow be lucky enough to have your finger on the pulse of what's coming up.
You will be a part of this community. You won't be an outsider. Yeah.
I felt like one, you know,
Yeah.
and now I really, you know, some of my closest friends are leading the charge in this industry, and I just can't believe it. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
So do you feel, well, I mean, you never stop working, but do you feel this push and pull between, like, would you rather be doing more game stuff? Are you, would you rather be doing more movie stuff? Do you,
Well, it's kind of
is it hard to exist in all of it at once?
No, it all feels like the same offering for me,
Okay.
right? So like even if I'm directing somebody's music video, it just feels like it's all kind of like
Creativity.
it's like a vomitous need.
No one called
you know? Yeah, and I know that's like a bit intense, but like, all right. Okay. So is it hard? No, I actually feel like I'm in a really unique place that I like. I feel lucky to be in because I don't pay my mortgage with games. I can be really honest in the industry. Well, not that I would anyway, but I really don't kiss anyone's ass. I call people out to their faces when I think something's not good. I'm
You're opinionated.
I'm opinionated,
Yeah.
but I'm also like incredibly compassionate. Nothing's harder than making a game.
Sure.
So I'm not a troll that just like thinks, this like, you know what I'm talking about. It's just like
Everybody knows.
People who
This game
talk
fucking sucks and you should go die in a ditch.
it's like make a thing once in your life. Okay, thanks, bye. You know,
yeah.
people are killing themselves. Crunch is evil, and like things need to change, and so
Of course.
people can stay safe and have a longevity in this career.
Yeah.
But like I get to say that because I'm not beholden.
Sure.
And I love that. So as for like the future of where I probably fit in this industry, of course I will continue to perform if people think that I'm the right, hammer for the nail. But, Russo and I are hardcore gamers, and we have a, transmedia project that works in any medium really, but also is definitely like an interactive narrative.
Yeah.
And, like consulting, all these kinds of things, like they happen naturally, and we'll continue to. And just because people don't know doesn't mean it's not happening.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
Like,
There's so much stuff.
It's funny because I am in the public eye in some way, but just because it's not like the front facing part of my life doesn't mean that it's like it's not the most important part of my life.
Totally. I mean, it's the surface level, right? The tip of the iceberg. Nobody knows what's
people
happening
see
there.
the global premiere of an Apple TV Plus show, but like I'm much more interested in, and I'm spending way more hours, figuring out branching dialogue. You know what I mean? Like, how do we write this?
So when do you sleep? When do you play games? Like I struggle making dumb YouTube shows and playing games.
Really good question. I am not able to play as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
I think Russo and I will start streaming. I think the second that I actually start streaming for real, then I'll have to build it into the schedule, and then I'll like be able to tell my team like, no, I need to do, part of it is like I have a full team of reps, and I am working on shows, and when you work on TV, you're working like 16 hours a day on set.
Yeah.
And but we'll figure out how to do that, and there's so many things coming up soon that actually, I'm gonna do a playthrough of Afterparty on the 4th. So whoever's listening and whoever's watching, please go to my Twitch page, which is literally just my first name, Janina.
Perfect name.
And then I'm gonna stream with the creators and the cast in my house. Crankle. You both have psychopath huge eyes. Have you ever noticed that? You both have like giant eyeballs.
I've never had my eyes called. Well, no, that's a lie, actually.
You're the one that said it to me, didn't you?
Yeah, probably.
You're like,
probably
I
true.
have psychopath eyes.
No, I do.
I've literally quoted you so many times. I'm
well,
pretty sure it came from you.
It better have come from me. Otherwise, you're just reading the internet comments on an IGN video. You're like, who's this guy with psychopath eyes?
Yeah, you both have like just giant eyeballs.
He's coming through for We Have Cool Friends,
When is he
Sean Crickle.
coming?
I think we're filming it next week, but I don't think it goes up for a couple weeks.
Oh, good.
So
okay,
give me some dirt to give him.
We're gonna do a playthrough at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at my house, which
Monday
I
the
just
4th.
redid. I just redid my house. That was a thing.
No, it is a thing. I'm putting a note on the calendar. We'll host that for you.
Oh,
that way, if you
really?
can go to twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, and we'll put that up there because I'm seeing we're not doing anything else. So hold on.
Oh my God.
Host Janina's.
Thank
stream.
you.
No problem. That's what we're here for. To support you and not Sean
Yay.
Crankle. Right, Barrett?
Right.
Thanks, Barrett. Out of the blue the other day, you start putting up all these Instagram posts of these beautiful shots of this house you have now.
Oh yeah.
And my favorite one is the one like, I've always wanted a house with a swing in it. And so I said, put a swing in it. And now I have 2 swings in my kitchen. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You're a crazy person.
Yeah, I mean, we all are.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I bought that house 5.5 years ago and made some personal changes in my life last year, and then was sort of like, when do I get to be a grown up? Like, if I don't actually do this now, then I guess I'll never do it.
Yeah.
Also, I exist on the road so much, and I was in Los Angeles working on the morning show.
Yeah.
So I found a designer. I've like designed people's houses. So I was like, do I work with one? And then I watched her work, and I was like, Jesus, I'm a hobbyist. Albeit I'm a good hobbyist, but like I'm still a hobbyist. I'm not a full-time designer. So so Manny Cheng and I sat down and we oh my
There it is.
God.
Look
Yeah.
Swings in the kitchen. Why
swings
not?
in the kitchen, yeah.
Seems dangerous, but you don't care.
Whatever. A little danger never hurt anybody. Actually, it does sometimes. But
Quite often.
quite often, it's very dangerous. Yeah. So we redid the whole house.
That's rad.
Yeah, I turned the back house. I lofted a bed, so it's got like a little tiny home. It's very Scandinavian, and so it's and then that gallery wall that's there became like a full-time job because I made most of that art.
Yeah, I saw you talk about putting the propeller up. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Dangerously put up the propeller.
It was really stupid. I shouldn't have done that.
Were you
but-
just like on like 2 step ladders on top of each other trying to do
it was like one of those. It was like a kind that just goes. It starts like this, and then it goes straight like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, "This is dumb. This is dumb. This is dumb."
Yeah,
so then I live streamed it on Instagram because I was like, "If I'm going to fall to my doom, then at least we'll get it on."
Yeah, I want some views off this.
Bear witness.
Yeah, exactly.
That piece on the bottom left is an illustration by Robbie Attal, who actually is a big fan of yours.
Hey, Robbie, it's me,
and
Greg
he's
Miller. Thanks for
probably
sharing.
listening right now. He was also in our short film, and but like most of that art I actually ended up doing, and it just became like a full-time job. That was the thing that stressed me out the most. And then I have Aiden's helmet there. Mm-hmm. It's like the first thing you see when you come in. I almost made, because Lucasfilm made me my uniform.
Yeah.
I almost put it in a
Glass case.
Like glass case.
That'd be
I
awesome.
almost did the thing.
Yeah.
And then in the end, I was like, right, no, it's fine. I'll just keep the helmet because then people can actually put it on and take photos and like have a fun time with it. you
Sure.
know?
Yeah. What's it been like seeing people? That's not. I was gonna say glom onto. That's not what I mean. But people find something they want in Aiden, where they want to cosplay as her, they want to do stuff. I know Mitch the other day, Mitch Dyer, of course,
Mitchy D.
writer there, he quote tweeted that drawing that was all, I think, the female characters.
Oh yes,
of
they
Star
sent
Wars,
it to me,
and you were there, right? And it was like, oh my gosh, like this is something that resonates with people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know that like coming into Star Wars and making a Star Wars video game that is canon was probably, stressful enough. But then making a character, right, that people still want to be a part of their lives, right?
Yeah, it's wild. The book definitely fleshed her out even more,
Yeah.
which is really, really good. So it's like two sets of fandoms, right? It's like gamers, but it's also Star Wars kids.
Sure.
And the latter has read the book more, as you can imagine, or listened to it, because
Yeah.
they asked me to
course they
perform
did.
it, which is the hardest thing I've ever done. Oh my
Really?
God. Oh, it was so
You
hard.
do so much. Why was that so hard?
It was because it's like, first of all, you do every single voice. Every single voice.
Did you auto?
I did everything,
Yeah.
and I'm not great, but I did it.
You're like, I tried.
But I tried my best. But
Oh, yeah, Kevin's got the ARPO. Look how good Kevin
And-
is today.
Yeah, and I'm in the top right with my daughter. See that like in the back, they've got their two hands up.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh
The
my
red shirt and the
God.
white shirt.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah.
Aw. And so, I don't know. What am I saying?
We were talking about the book and why that was the hardest thing to do.
Oh
just
yeah,
the
it was
voices.
really hard, and I only had 3 days to do it in between shooting. No, it was like it's not enough time in between shooting the game, and really not a lot of time to prepare.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, I was like, I have to get this right. And like Sam Witwer was incredibly helpful during that.
Yeah.
Days Gone, Sam Witwer, and
Force Unleashed Sam Witwer.
and Force, yeah.
Also,
specific-
of course, Smallville Doomsday Sam Witwer.
Yes,
Come on.
yes. He's like my predecessor. He was so kind during my entire Star
He's
Wars.
awesome.
He's just a good boy.
He's another-
He's
yeah,
a good. He is a good, and so he was really helpful. And when I was like going through pronunciation and like figuring out voicing and all of those things, and then it takes so much energy. Ooh. I have some friends who've like made a career of making audiobooks now, and I'm just like, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. It truly was.
Because you have to be on that, I mean, for pages and pages and pages in that energy.
Also, I didn't know this at the time because it was the first one I'd ever done, that most of those sessions only go 4 hours, and I went like 3 days in a row or something. So I didn't have time to recover. When I'm doing a push like that, like even with this press tour,
Yeah.
I need to build in some recovery days.
Yeah.
And I didn't have them,
Does this grind ever get to you? Do you ever, you just redid your house, right? Wouldn't you like to hang out in your house more?
I actually like to hang out in my house now, which is kind of amazing. Yeah, it can be rough, but again, like I kind of get off on being so busy that I'm just like,
Look at me.
like
This
it's
world's my bitch.
Yeah, a little bit. But then I start. I don't look at things in days. I start looking them in like packs of time. So like 3 to 4 hour chunk is this thing, right? So I like, even here, I'm like, I get off a plane, I come straight here. This is like 4 hours I get to spend with you, where we get to like share a space and be focused with each other.
Yeah.
And then I can move on to whatever the next thing is. But if I don't do that, then I won't remember hanging out with you, and that
Sure.
will be really upsetting to me later.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, but then I go back tomorrow, and then I hopefully I don't really have a recovery day. But otherwise you just get sick. You just can't. You meet too many people, you shake too many hands, you push too hard, you don't sleep, and
My body's been trying to break down since PAX, but it knows it doesn't have any time to do it, so
right?
it's great.
Exactly.
So sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh man, throat's a little sore, but like you can't stop. So
Yeah.
my body's like, cool, let's keep
Can't
going.
stop, won't stop.
Figure right around Christmas time, I'll fall into an iron lung and just
Yeah.
have to sit there.
But what's good is, when it comes to the producer side of me, the creator side of me, I have a creative partner, and we share a brain.
Sure.
And like, even right now, I was like, my throat hurts, and he was like, go to urgent care. And I was like, I don't think I have time, and I don't want to. And he's like, go here. He's like, we really support each other in that way. We
Sure.
really are sort of like the real partnership in that way,
So I want to double way back to something.
Well, let's go.
I'm unfamiliar with it. How did all this start for you? You talk about like you started as a musician, like a serious musician.
Yeah.
So like you're a kid and you want to get into music, and that's where this path starts.
Sure, yeah. So I studied piano first and then percussion. So I still play mallet percussion.
Mallet percussion?
Mallet percussion.
What's
So
that?
like xylophone,
Oh, okay.
marimba, glockenspiel, vibraphone, these kinds of things.
Gotcha.
I played, I don't think I'm allowed to say it yet, but like I played vibraphone on a bunch of deceased
Bones?
pop stars' estate songs. Would you say Bones?
Yeah.
The bones are their money. Do you know what I'm saying if I say that?
No, I didn't know. I was jumping. I thought about making the joke
You
about
don't know
playing on
this.
somebody's rib cage, and then I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, maybe that's offensive to these kind of people, these musicians. You know what I mean?
Hold on.
Don't worry about what happened.
Okay,
back
wait,
there.
okay. I was just gonna
Ignore
make a reference.
ignore whatever happened to
It's
the
fine.
wall.
It's fine. It's fine. So the thing I just referenced is this show called I Think You Should Leave.
Oh yeah, I know that show.
There's a sketch that is so incredible, and like Russo and I all we do is just like sing this song. What's the sketch called? But they basically sing this weird song where they say the bones are their money, so are the worms. And I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Because nobody understands what I'm talking about right now, but it's one of the best things in the world. It's ever been made. It's premium content.
You saw, Scott Bromley, obviously from the Star Wars show.
Yeah.
Did you see his Halloween costume from the other night of being?
No, what is it?
He was the guy in the hot dog suit with the two shirts.
Oh my
where
God.
He's like, I'm just doing the hot dog car that
Oh
smashed through the
my
wall. It was
God.
great. It was great.
Scott is brilliant. I'm going to hang out with Andy tonight too.
Ooh.
Yeah. Wait, where were we? Okay, so music. So I was
How
a
did you get
very,
here?
I
How
don't
did you get to-
know.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's just, so I was a very serious musician. I thought I was going to be a percussion performance major in college.
Okay.
Then I was doing the musical, the high school musical, and I had like an emotional heartbreak as somebody else. And I was like, what was that? What was that? And it became like a dragon I chased constantly, like feeling somebody else's life.
Yeah.
And then I switched my focus very last minute, and I found a school that let me get away with murder.
What school?
The University of Illinois at Chicago. That's like a ringing endorsement for anyone who's a multidisciplinary artist. They were just like, yeah, sure, do anything you want. So I was a theater major and a dual minor in music and psychology. I think if I went back, I'd probably study psych now.
Okay.
And
leave all this music and acting behind you, huh?
well, I mean, I use it more than anything.
Yeah.
It's like saying like politics in Hollywood. Like there's a lot of Hollywood in politics. There's a lot of politics in Hollywood. So then. At the same time, I fell into a girl group, kind of, and had a record deal with Cash Money Records, which is pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the girl group?
It's called Indira. You've never heard of us.
Okay.
And trust me.
We were only big in certain circles. You weren't cool enough to actually know.
or not at all. But it was like a lot of. I went to artist development boot camp in Atlanta. We danced really hard. Cut an album. It's how I learned how to engineer and produce music, and which is why I produce all my own vocals now. Then, as all girl groups do, it fell apart. So I moved to Los Angeles, and I
As one does.
As one does.
Yeah.
And I booked the L Word right away.
Jeez. What? So you just moved? You're like the girl group fell apart. I'm gonna go be an actor.
Yeah. Well, I
I'm
was
gonna
already
chase this other part.
acting in Chicago. In that I was doing a ton of commercials and like bad independent films and like anything anybody would let me
Sure.
do.
Hey,
you know?
you gotta
It's
take
not-
your lick somewhere.
couldn't be choosy, and it was very much like, is anyone ever going to hire me? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I moved to LA and I started working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pretty consistently, right?
very lucky.
L Word was a big deal.
L Word was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was already a big deal by the time I got there.
Yeah, that's helpful.
And I just started working, and can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, and I think that's part of you, right? It seems like I think you never lost what you had in Chicago. Of
No.
there's jobs. I got to take the jobs. I got to go do this thing.
Yeah.
But it seems like every opportunity that's a good opportunity now. Now you don't have to just take anything.
Yeah, because the truth is in the last 3 years, I've been fortunate enough at this point to kind of have. If you look at my body of work thus far, the thing I'm most proud of is how diverse it is. Actually, Barrett was like. What'd you say to me? You were like, "Oh yeah, you're in a bunch of stuff, and we didn't realize it." And like,
Here, he's coming. Hold on a second.
somebody-
he can defend himself on the shock mic. You're being
said-
called out on
you
We Have
said-
Cool Friends by Janina.
you
Will
said
shock mic up,
earlier,
Kev?
yeah, you said earlier like, "Oh yeah, you're in a bunch of shit," and
Yeah.
like we didn't know, and then
What didn't we know?
Your fiance was like, she's from the league.
This was like 2 years ago when it was revealed that you were the main character for Battlefront 2. And it was when that trailer came out, and Alyssa was like, oh, yeah, she's from the league. And then when you popped up again in Blindspotting and all this stuff, I was like, oh, shit, like, you're in a lot of stuff that we really love, so.
Thanks, first of all. Yeah. That's really sweet of you.
Including Afterparty, by the way.
Yeah, which we have to get to.
Well, yeah, we're talking about it.
Okay. But the bigger point is that is like a real point of pride for me. So it's very easy to get pigeonholed in quote unquote Hollywood because they're like, oh, she was great in that one thing. This thing's kind of like that. Let's get that girl that was good at the thing.
Yeah.
And you just end up repeating yourself over and over again. And I don't want to do that. I'm trying to have like a weird, wild ride and to be able to.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Truly, so far, so
Yeah.
good. Like, if I zoom out, I'm like, certainly the girl that's like improvising with Jason Mantzoukas is definitely not the commander of Inferno Squad. And she's definitely not like cussing out David Diggs and while she braids his hair, like she's like, these are all such different people and such different walks of life.
Yeah.
And that's what I really want to do. And even, our entire slate of all the things that we're creating right now are very different from each other.
Sure.
Well,
I think that's the power in what you're talking about with Barrett and Alyssa, right? Is the idea that I remember when we first brought you on stuff. For me, I was like, from True Blood, that's the show and I remember all the comments being like, no, L Word. And then when it was Blindspotting, people hitting us up about that. And then obviously the video games and down the line as it continues to tumble out. And I think to your point, like we have a section here called the Friend Zone where the best friends write in with questions for you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Blindspotting, you being in the Arrowverse, all these different things in here of like, I didn't even know you're in the Arrowverse, right? And like, I'm a huge DC dork, but it's too much content to consume with you even. Can't keep up with everything you're doing, let alone this musical career and these other things.
Okay, yeah, well. That's awesome to me.
Yeah.
But it also means you have to say no to a lot of things. You got to leave a lot of money on the table, which is terrifying, because I am like definitely exist in a very ageist world. So sometimes I'm like, am I fucking up? Like, am I going to be able to feed myself later because I said no to a bunch of repeat gigs?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, these are real things that I have to think about as an artist.
Is that a serious concern for you in terms of like aging out of the roles?
100%. Yeah. Like, this is the brass tacks of what it is.
Yeah.
I chose to be an artist, and that means, and I don't care about being famous. Otherwise, I would be. Like I'm not a dummy.
Yeah.
I know how to get shit I want. I don't care about being famous. Otherwise, I would be. And
you're still kind of famous, though.
I mean, I feel
known.
like I'm known for the really random thing. Like this, I'm exactly where I like to be, which is you say one thing, he says another thing, and then I'm gone before you even realize that it's the same person. Like it's a grand magic trick. People are like, "Can you walk around?" I'm like, "Trust me, you'll go. Isn't that nah?" And I'm so far gone before you can even stop me because you're like, certainly not.
Yeah. Why would she be here in the outskirts of San Francisco?
Yeah. So, So I forgot what the question is, but that's really my big thing is like diversity of experience.
We were asking if it was a real concern and what your plan is for when you get old.
Oh yeah,
and when you get old, I mean, like what in Hollywood, it's like 35. I don't even know, right?
Correct. Yeah, and like in a way, it's already a few years ago. Like it should have been done a few years ago, but like ain't nobody stopping this train. You
have to fucking pry this from my cold dead hands.
Yeah, but that's real.
Hell yeah.
But like.
Well, that's what's
whatever.
awesome. I think about what you're doing and diversifying, and the fact that you have it in your head, right? Of like. The system's broken and weird. I don't know if it's broken. Hollywood's broken
and weird. It has been for a really long time. It's not going to be fixed, perfectly. But, then you get opportunities like what I get to do tomorrow. And you talk to people and you kind of like try to say the things that you've learned thus far. And hopefully they can take it forward. And all these little micro changes will like make things better for all of us,
What do you think you've learned? I thought something you said on your original Game Over Greggy appearance, right, way back in the day, was this idea that you have a barometer and good people when you meet good people.
Yeah.
And if you say something like, I know that person, and you turn away, that means that person wasn't good, right?
I go, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. I told you that? Oh, no.
And I think it was before 2017, right? It was before Wait, I said 2017, right? Yeah, June 23rd, 2017. That was before like Me Too really was popping off and all this other stuff, right?
yeah.
Where I think it was before this was being taken seriously
Yeah.
as it is now.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about, the thing about the Me Too and specifically the Time's Up movement is like, it's just about abuse of power, which is obviously it's everybody experiences it. It's not 100% a gendered experience, you know, and it's certainly not just in Hollywood. And that's why it's really important to just talk about this shit and demystify it. You know, like you guys know me here. I'm not like, this has been happening for a really long time. These small changes will change things eventually. Shit is way better for our generation than it was for the women that came before us and for all the people that came before us, men or women or otherwise. And like, I don't know, just don't be a dick. That's it.
That's pretty much it. It's
Don't
pretty
be a
simple.
dick.
Pretty simple.
That's it.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah. So I don't remember what your question really was.
That was pretty much it. That was fine. We're just talking. It's fine. Don't worry
Good.
about it. You don't have to worry about the questions all the time.
But it's so funny that I told you that. I can't believe. I mean, yeah, it's true. Like, oh, neat.
You're pretty much an open book. That's what you're talking about too. Of like,
Yeah. I'll tell you what's up. If you ask me, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You know. There's some things I won't talk about, but like, just really like, you know. That there's a few things, but other than like, you know, romantic life, that's the only thing I kind of keep off the table. Other than that, everybody knows everything.
Not about it, but why do you keep your romantic life to yourself?
I have this saying, don't let other people put drama on your drama.
Yeah, sure.
So if you're like moving across the country, I'm kind of like, don't tell anyone. Just do it. It's hard enough. Just tell them when you go.
Yeah,
you know, the people who were supposed to know, they'll find out.
Yeah.
And then you're gone before anybody's. I'm a little Carmen Sandiego about it.
I've noticed. Yeah, exactly. The costume fits. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, gone.
Yeah.
So, but also, you know, like intimacy is really like, you should keep that sacred.
Sure.
And who you can do that with is like, it's just like, keep it grown and sexy, keep it between the two of you. And like, just don't, and that's not about being secretive. It's just like,
Well, it's about
just
keeping something for yourself.
keep something for yourself.
And like, what makes that relationship or whatever relationship you want, and to put these like keep off the table, what makes those sacred? What makes those special? And it is the fact that you're sharing something with someone, right?
Yeah.
You're not, I'm obviously way more vulnerable, and you know the gloves are off when I talk to my wife, right? Than it would be, even though I am an open book as well in terms of podcasting. But like my own fears, you know what I mean? Like the things that are keeping me up, the thoughts that I haven't fully fleshed out and aren't ready to defend or talk about, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff, right? Those
and you
one-on-one
hope-
moments.
You hope that your person knows all of your thoughts, and you know, and also I think probably because, you know, with the advent of social media, the medias, because so much is front facing, I kind of think the line in the sand between like my most vulnerable, truest self and who I can, you know, like fall into in that way is really, it's just, I don't know. I just like try to protect it a little bit. And, you know, it's not easy. I'm sure it's not easy being with a person who is in the public eye. And like, you just kind of want to protect that person from all of that.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
I'm going to walk out there. It's going to be 5,000 people and they're going to be screaming, but don't worry, baby. I'm going to come back and say, I'll come back and say, they don't need to know about you. You know, it's just sort of like you keep it separate, you know.
I'm not asking about your romantic life in any specifics.
I mean, you can ask me about how I handle it.
My question would be,
because everybody's different. Like, I know that another female performer is going to sit here and tell you something completely different.
For as crazy as your schedule is, for as busy as you are,
Yeah.
is it hard to maintain romantic relationships? Like, have you struggled with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no. You know, I'm like, I was in a 5-year relationship and then a 9-year relationship, and like nobody really knew.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know now, because I'm single for the first time in, you know, 14 years.
Yeah.
I can very clearly, somebody just asked me like this specific question, like very pointedly, like, how do you how is it hard? Yeah, I know now. I can look back and see when I nailed it and when I wasn't.
I whiffed on this one.
I whiffed on this one, or like we both did,
Yeah.
and just sort of being like, if you think that you are immune to space and time apart,
You ain't.
you ain't.
You ain't.
You ain't.
Yeah.
You ain't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that mind meld thing is like, you know, I had an artist, Livio Ramondelli. He made this beautiful piece of art that I painted on my wall, and it goes into my television screen. So this is like in the redesign,
Yeah.
right? And it's.
I gotta come see this house.
You gotta come over. Where do you stay when you come to LA?
All over the place, man.
Well, I have a guest room.
I got those Marriott points. You know. what I
Oh,
mean?
okay,
I'm
never
all about
mind,
that.
never mind. I was like, I got a guest room if you want it. So, but it's basically like the mind meld. It's two gender non-specific people like that share a brain space, you know,
Okay.
and like that is the good stuff for me. That is whether it's like with a friend or you know like whatever. That is the happy place for me because it's like you're most vulnerable, you know, and it is. And you just have to I hold that really dear, you know,
course, you have
like
to, yeah.
the mind meld that Russo and I have is so real. And we've worked on it for almost half a decade now.
Wow.
And it's like, it's my happiest place, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah, what?
I promise you something special about Afterparty. So have you
I
seen
haven't
this
seen
yet?
this.
So this is the influencer Xbox Game Pass kit they
Influencer.
sent out, right? So you can get in there. Go ahead, no, because you're in Afterparty. Who do you play in
This is so
Afterparty?
cool, man. I play Lola.
The main character. The main character.
Well,
One
no,
of them.
there's
Well,
two.
There's two.
They're besties.
Yeah.
If you don't know what Afterparty is at this point, who the fuck are you?
It's a great point. Who the fuck do you think you are?
fuck do you think that-
You know what I mean? Are you in a car right now? Pull over to the side of the road and Google it.
This is so good. There's very little better than a good drink with bad friends, says Satan.
So go ahead and open it up.
Okay. Have you
How-
seen this yet?
Oh, yeah. I'll
Oh,
open
okay,
up.
don't ruin
Yeah,
it.
don't Okay, I'm not going to ruin anything for you. So go in there, see?
Oh my God, it's a beer pong kit.
You have a beer pong kit?
This
that's
is
branded?
fucking great. Oh, a little shaker.
Look at branded as well.
Oh my
See?
God.
Afterparty shaker there, too.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
because of course, Afterparty all about making drinks in hell.
Is this- what is
That's
this?
just protective tissue paper.
And
Yeah, throw that
then-
away. You don't need that. Coasters, Xbox Game Pass. Of course, Afterparty available on Xbox Game Pass. One of the best deals.
Yes.
Xbox Game Pass in gaming right now.
A little
You got your
pong
own?
ball. Oh my God. Oh my God. Guys, this is Milo and this is Lola. And this is my character. She doesn't sound like that.
No, hard to believe they went that way with the character.
Oh, wow.
Then you got your
And then
little
what is
cocktail,
this?
cocktail
Oh
kit.
my
See, because you got to make your
God.
drinks with it and stuff there. Yeah.
This is so neat.
This is all yours to take home, of course. Thank you for being in the game.
Ew. This is so cool. I don't drink at all, which is the irony of my life. But, you know,
But you want this stuff. Look, it's
I
the
want this
thing's
stuff.
branded Afterparty.
I literally
you know?
don't have this kind of stuff in my house yet. So when you come over and you want to mix yourself a drink, just know you're doing it on your own.
Yeah, I was
And-
going to say, no, I'm only making one for me, one for Jen, nothing for
This
you. You got
looks
to water.
cool.
Yeah.
This looks neat. Look at this.
So how did you getting into Afterparty come to be? Is this one of the ones they came to you on? Did you already know Sean in the night school?
Well, it's funny. So Mitch Dyer
Ugh.
introduced Russo and I to Krankle
Yeah.
as writers.
Oh.
And then that almost happened and it did not. And then he was like, but at that point I'd already like fallen in love with Krankle as
Sure.
a weird friend. And
He's a weird dude.
oh, he's the best. He's the best. He's the best. And he was like, hey man, so like, I was like thinking like, I don't know if like you'd be interested or whatever, but like maybe, do you want to like be in the game? And I was like, oh my God, are you asking me to perform in this? Yes, please. I would love to. I was so pumped because Oxenfree, as we know, is just, first of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is so dope and it's so conversational.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like a grand magic trick. They nailed it, you know, more than anybody else. And
The conversations are what stands out the most in that game, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
going through and piecing together what the story is here.
yes, it's the way the characters talk to each other. It doesn't feel like a performance. It just sounds like everybody's in the same room,
Yeah.
and we're not.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. So when they asked me to be a part of it, I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be so dope. And then Adam Hines, the writer, and they're cousins. Crankle and Hines are cousins.
Nepotism.
From Illinois.
Where?
I know. Shit, fuck, I should know this.
They wouldn't last an hour in DuPage County, I'll tell you right now. Right?
DuPage County! Yeah, and then so I came in and worked on it for, I don't even know how long. But, I mean, they are such good boys.
Yeah.
And the thing about night school specifically is that they're really kind.
Yeah.
They're kind to their company. They're 50-50 too. Everything is 50% women, 50% men in the company. And they're compassionate. Everybody's happy. Everybody feels healthy. You know, like that.
That goes a long way in the games
industry. It goes
industry.
a long way,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, it's a rarity. You know, I like stamp around and talk a lot of shit about that specifically, like company culture.
Yeah.
And I know, like, as I grow my studio, that is of the utmost importance. The people that we're bringing projects out with, I talk about like who we want to be to each other as we take a project out into Hollywood. I talk about this a lot because there are problems, and I can't be talking as much shit as I do
and
not actually be about it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Night School Studios is like just a really good example of people doing it right.
So is that how you're finding most of your game work now comes from? Where people come up to you like, do you want to be in this? Are you auditioning for stuff?
Hopefully people will continue to, because I don't know what my next thing is. I don't have my next game. I don't know what it's going to be. I did know that, and I really would actually like to I don't have time, but I really want to write a piece on why I chose to do an indie after doing like
a giant game.
Ostensibly the most, like, you know, it's a Star Wars game.
As AAA. It's a Star Wars game from EA. Yeah.
Yeah, like it couldn't have been bigger than that moment. I couldn't have chosen a bigger like
stage
pressure workload thing than that, you know?
Yeah.
And like why I specifically wanted to do this.
What's your pitch? Why'd you want to do this after that?
Because of company culture.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you not like what you saw?
It's not that. It's just that it's I didn't get to see that much.
Yeah.
But like we all know.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, one thing I did get to do that was amazing was the Christmas of 2017, DICE invited me to go to Stockholm.
Oh, nice.
So I flew there and I did their Christmas party and I went out in uniform and I did the moment of the helmet thing and they like put like, they had like fog and they did this. It was like the most Euro thing I've ever done. It was so nice. And I got to party with all of them. You know, like when you work on set, you get to see the crew around you.
Yeah.
But then you don't get to meet the post team.
Sure.
So, you know, it takes hundreds and hundreds of people to make even just a TV show. And I get upset personally when I don't get to meet those people, even if I'm not the creator of the thing and I'm just an actor. I love feeling like I'm in a sandbox with other artists. It's just a happy place. So when they invited me, I was like, oh my God, yes. And I got to party with every single one of that team and their SOs because it was a Christmas party, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah. And I wanted to experience something where I could go to the studio and meet the artist who designed my character.
Yeah.
And like sit at her console and do a 360 rotation and like talk about her and like talk about the way she sounds and you know.
A farm to table experience of gaming,
yes.
right? Yeah,
it's like what's the pilot of Portlandia when he's like and
what was the chicken's name
and what farm is this? Is his name Steven? And what farm is he from? Yeah, that's kind of a little bit what I got to experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, like the reviews are fucking killer.
Yeah. I can't wait to play it. It's next on the list because I got to play it before Sean gets here.
Yeah, you better.
What I mean?
Yeah,
'Cause I don't want to be like.
I haven't played any demos. I've like
really?
I've only seen the
demos I've played. I think the previews I've played for the couple of years it's been on cycle. It's been great. Can't wait. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Very excited. One of my favorite voice actor, Dave Fennoy's in it. So don't know if you know him. He's
I feel
Satan.
like yes, of course.
She doesn't know who Dave Fennoy is.
Isn't
faking it? Yeah, he's over here.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Dave's
Like,
back
yes,
there.
I do.
Yeah, Dave's back there.
She knows who he is.
Yeah, I
Thought I had her dead to rights.
We just had a party and he came. Like, yeah. And what great casting too. He sounds amazing.
Yeah, Dave's great. Ashley's great.
Ashley, I
Bang
love
of cast with
Ashley. Ashley, I'm obsessed with her.
Well, you know what I'm obsessed with? Thanking our sponsors. Kevin, give me the one.
Wowie wow.
Thank you for your help. You just earned yourself an Escape the Invasion box
Oh
on us.
my
So don't worry about that.
gosh.
Janina, it's time to
Yeah.
enter the friend zone. This is where people on patreon.com/kindafunny can submit their questions
Cool.
for you. Mitchell writes in and says, "Hi, Janina."
Mitchell.
Yeah. It's not dire, don't worry.
Okay, cool.
Blindspotting was incredible, and you were great in it.
Thank
One of my
you.
favorite movies from last year. How did you get involved in this project? Did you know David or his music before working with him on this?
David.
My apologies.
All good. I didn't know them personally. I was aware of them because they are just lethal artists. And so the writers and producers are David Diggs and Raphael Casal. And I read the script, and it was the best script I've read in years and years and years. And in fact, I'm like still pissed that it didn't win or get nominated for Best Original Screenplay, because it is like you reading it was just like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of the few times where I was like, if I'm not a part of this, I'm gonna die. Oh my god! Like, what do I do? What do I do? Yeah. And then yeah, it's just that one's gonna hold up for a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it like to be part of that? Like, do you?
Oh,
do you-
I mean-
you do everything, and I assume you're proud with all of it, right? But like, do you?
No, not all of it.
Oh, okay, great.
No, I'm not proud of everything.
What do you hate? What do you look back like? I can't believe I was on that crap.
I mean, there's plenty of like indie films that I did back in the day,
Sure,
and
Chicago
like
stuff.
yeah, and just like even along the way, of like I've done a few indies that the good thing is when you do an indie and it's just bad, nobody sees it.
Never
You're
have
just
to
like,
know. Yeah.
but then one person will see it sometimes, and you're like,
They tweet at you about it, and like the one tweet you don't respond to.
yeah,
No,
like,
no,
no,
no, no,
that's
no,
telling.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And you just turn away, turn away.
Do the turn, smile and turn.
All right. Yeah, but that one is like maybe my proudest film I've ever worked on. I have one coming out in March as well. I'm the female lead in Ben Affleck's next movie.
Ooh,
And,
what's it called?
It's called The Way Back. Gavin O'Connor directed it. He made
Okay.
Warrior and The Accountant with Ben as well. And
Yeah.
it's heart-wrenching, and Ben's incredible in it. He's become a dear friend, and we really feel like, we really did something on that one. And so the world will get to see that in March.
Two things.
Yeah.
Number one, introduce me to Ben Affleck. Number two.
We'll come do the show. Cool friends.
Right? No, totally. Oh my God.
Yeah, no,
you kidding
no,
me? Kevin and I are the biggest Kevin Smith fans. You think we're going to have a million questions about the VSQ universe. And I like Batman v Superman. Different topic. Here's my question.
Yeah.
Have you been in it so long, and this is just your life, obviously, traveling the world, doing these things, but like earlier, like, oh, Jen Aniston was doing this. Oh, Ben Affleck and I. Does this still, do you have that perspective anymore of like, oh man, like I know all these people that the rest of the world is like so hung up on, that they're the biggest movie stars, or that they have all these memories for?
I call it perceived status.
Yeah.
Right? So like sometimes status is a real thing, but often it's not. So fame can really skew people's perceptions of who a person really is, and makes you like glitch out. Like it makes you act in ways that you wouldn't necessarily act because of your own like overthinking or insecurities or whatever. And I don't really have that anymore, because
it's your life, right?
that's just my life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every day, yeah.
But I get like that around some people. Like, I met, I shook Kojima's hand at E3, and
Right.
I almost like cried on myself, and but mostly it's for like game devs,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
for directors, it's for creators, because performance is one thing, embodying something is one thing, and it's really transcendent and very special, and as actors we get to be the mirror, but like that still came from somebody else's brain first.
Yeah.
And that brain space is a thing that I hold so much reverence for, that it just makes me, that's the thing that makes me like, oh my God, that's the thing. But the rest of these people, it's like, we're all performers,
Sure. You're doing the same job, right? Yeah.
We're doing the same job, they've been doing it longer, and, Jen is a producer, Reese is a producer, Ben has an Oscar for producing and writing. He told me that he was the youngest person to win an Oscar as a writer. I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, cool, yeah.
So what do you want off the...
But like the thing is like he says that now, and he's him, and his stripes are so plentiful, but that's still a really big deal to him, you know.
That's awesome.
And that's life, you know.
That is life. That is life, Kevin. Huh?
I said not for us.
What are you talking about? I don't care. I see
I'm saying
Kojima
we're
now.
not
I'm just like,
winning
whatever.
Oscars.
Oh no. Well, we could. Animated
could
series almost got one, right? Is that how that works? I don't even know. Oh, DH Canada writes in to patreon.com/kindafunny and says, for Janina, you are officially part of the Arrowverse, thus DC live action canon.
Yeah.
What show were you on? What season?
Arrow,
what,
first season.
Who'd you do? What were you doing?
I was doing Oliver.
All right.
Yeah, who's like, again, like also like I went to the Rise Festival with one of my friends. It's this lantern releasing festival, and my friends is the founder.
Yeah.
And Steven and his wife Cassandra lent me their Tesla so it could like drive me into the desert with Carboni.
Of course, yeah.
Anyway,
cool.
yeah. So their first season. So that was like 7 years ago.
I watched that so
now.
long ago. I don't know.
I'm like a cop, and you know.
Oh, you work with Laurel's dad.
Yeah.
Laurel, you're telling me? That's what me and Nick do all the time for an impression of him.
Yeah, he's, by the way, in Battlefront, and he came and guested on another show that I was on years ago called The Gates. So I've worked on 3 projects with Paul Blackthorne.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. Back to Dave.
Yeah, so I played McKenna Hall, and like she and Oliver had like a past together, and then they sort of like rekindle it, and then she gets shot in the leg and she leaves.
That's the question. Are you in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover?
Not that I know of.
I was going to say, that's a pretty deep cut to be like,
yeah, like, I don't
it's
know.
Kingdom Come Superman and all these other people, and season 1 cop who got shot in the leg.
Yeah,
He's like,
I don't think
stop!
so. I don't
Get
think
out of
so.
here, Anti-Monitor. We don't want you anymore. Ooh, Mitch Krassen writes
A lot
in,
of Mitches.
we have a type. Writes into patreon.com/kindafunny and says, for Janina, you've been on a lot of fantastical worlds as an actor. For a very specific question, what is the favorite costume you've ever worn?
I mean,
Has it got to be Battlefront?
yeah, they made me my uniform, and I told that tailor to snatch it, which just means like
Steal it?
make it fit my ribs.
Oh.
When I zip myself into this thing, I want it to be a second skin, and it's made out of like proper.
That intimidated
jumpsuit.
me, let alone the seamstress being like,
Yeah, and it's made out of proper like high grade jumpsuit material. You know,
Yeah.
like what you jump out of planes in, and it goes like all the way up to my neck, and my manager and I both went to Stockholm together for the Dice party.
Yeah.
And it was the first time she'd ever seen me zip myself into it, and it's like zzz, and I feel so sexy in that. I truly feel sexiest in Aiden's jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Without the gack, like without the armor
Yeah, yeah,
plating.
yeah.
Because it's just like fit
another
to me.
skin, yeah.
And it's just like, fuck, I feel dope. And she actually looked at me and was like, wow, that looks really good on you. And I was like, I think it's, you're really the right tool for the job when you have like a reaction like that.
You're like, oh my God. I
I
can't
really
believe I'm
feel
seeing
real
it
good right now. Yeah.
I have 2 questions,
Sure.
both about Aiden, and we'll end there. All right. So first, Mike Olson says, Aiden is one of my favorite characters ever. Were you able to give creative input during the process of making Battlefront 2?
Yes.
You talked about for
I was very lucky to be able to do that.
so that it goes both ways, because I when you were talking about it earlier, I thought when you were talking about how hands-on you were, I thought you were specifically talking about like press stuff, right? Where you
Yeah.
were what's messages, what are we gonna say, what can't we say? But then when they were working on the characters too, how early did you get on to the writing part, or when they were writing it?
Well, so I sent in a tape. I was working on Sleepy Hollow in Atlanta, and I
A
sent
show that my photo is in the background of, right? Remember that?
Yeah,
Remember when I had to
that's
sign away?
right.
There was a photo of you and I you put up, and like, hey, here's this photo release form. You need to put it up.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, so oh my God, that's funny. Did it ever make the air? Did you ever see it?
I didn't want it. I don't watch TV. often.
I was trying to get one viewer. And it
I killed Sleepy Hollow.
Couldn't even.
And you put my photo in it. I'm still like, I ain't watching this show.
Couldn't even get Greg to watch it. So I don't know. What was your question?
How soon did you get in to have creative input on who Aiden was?
The second I signed on,
Yeah.
I treated that the same way that I would a movie, which was like, now I need to talk to the writer, the creator, blah blah blah. And I know, in the games world, the word director and the word producer are so like overused. They're just too many moving parts. So I just kind of like put a warning shot out into the world and was like, I need to meet with everyone. And then we Skyped together. Mitch and I talked, Tom and I talked, and then I brought up any concerns I had, things that I saw maybe sand traps for us character-wise.
Yeah.
Talked about, obviously her relationship with her father, really mined that, her relationship with her eventual daughter. Just all of it, like a lot of arc stuff, and then really the big moment and the big tipping point for me was I found out there was a book about the second week that I was shooting it, and I got mad.
Really?
I was like, how dare you not tell me there's backstory to my character? I'm an actor. What do you think this is? Like, this is what we do. At least I do, because I'm like a nerdy, studious backstory nerd, right? And so I found Christy Golden on the internet and was like, I have her email. I will because I was in like living in secrecy. I was like, I will absolutely reach out to her on my own. Warning shot. If you don't want to take care of it, I will absolutely do it, and then I'll relay what I've learned. And then the next day we had a conference call together, and we all sat. It was like the entire Battlefront team and Christy. Then we like sat on Skype and we talked, and she told me the backstory of hers with her mother, and it broke me into a million pieces. And then I got to carry that with me through Battlefront 2. So that kind of stuff is like being really vocal to having access, but that takes I think it takes having stripes to know, like, you can stick your neck out. All you're trying to do is be better at your job. They're not going to fault you for that. I'm not saying change things. I'm saying, give me more.
Yeah.
Feed me. So I
as
can
much as
embody
you can go.
this,
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of, but that's who I've always been. I really like hold people accountable for that kind of shit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then final question is Silver Lobo. How do you feel about Aiden and her story in the Star Wars universe? In particular, do you think there's more stories to be told with her?
Yes.
And
yes.
This isn't a live question, by the way, mind you. So this is something they filed not knowing what we would talk about. You are a great narrator on the audiobook.
Oh,
Silver Lobo right there.
Thank you.
Do you think there's more stories to be told for Aiden?
Yeah, there absolutely is, especially for her, because the thing that I really want to mine is before she gets knocked up. Like, so now she's switched sides, and it's not an easy transition. And I don't know how Star Warsy this is. It's a little probably too dark. I don't know. Maybe it's dark. Maybe it's not. But the rebellion doesn't know how to run a tight ship. Aiden does. And there was talk, I don't know if this is like canon or not, but that she taught Poe how to fly or something. I don't know. Somebody has to check into that. Don't quote me on that. But she misses the way it smells in her cockpit when things are burning. She was made for the field, and now she's like farming or some shit, and like nobody knows how to do anything, and everybody's messy, and she's like had to hang up her her boots. Like, that must have, to me it's like, ooh, she hit depression. I'd love to mine Aiden's depression years, and like falling in love with her partner and like all that. That is a really interesting time period for that specific character. That's like not really Star Warsy, but is of the utmost interest to me.
Kevin, get Gary Witt on the phone. Let's make a comic book about this, all right? Thank you. He's working on it.
Great.
Janina, thank you for coming through We Have Cool
Greg.
Friends. It's so good. I'm glad we finally got to hang out for a long, long time. Who?
You.
Oh! Remember, ladies and gentlemen, We Have Cool Friends is every Monday. You can get it at twitch.tv/kindoffunny games as we record it, youtube.com/kindoffunny later, roosterteeth.com later, podcast services around the globe. Jeannie, where can people keep up with you?
Ooh, I'm Janina at all of the things.
It's easy.
But really do come watch the playthrough on the 4th, because we're going to stream all of Afterparty. And that's just, twitch.tv/Janina.
There you go. We'll be hosting on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, so don't worry about it. Our next cool guest is none other than Chris Anka coming back. Of course, Chris, a comic book artist known for the Runaways, Star-Lord. He'll be here to talk to us next week. So get your questions in, patreon.com/kindoffunny. And no, until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.